How's it going, guys? This is Sam Parker, offensive coordinator and quarterbacks coach at Davenport University, located in West Michigan, Grand Rapids, Michigan. Yes, I am a Michigan guy. I grew up in a town called Muskegon, Michigan. Played at a school called Mona Shores High School. And I don't know, man. I was always into television production and like film and making movies and stuff as a kid. And it's funny too because I didn't have a camera. All my friends did. So I was always tagging along and never had an editing system. And now, 20 plus years later, you can do this with a phone. So it's like a long time coming. Like, all right, now I can make whatever I want. What do you want to make? I just want to talk about football. So that's the point of the Chalk Talk. Please do me a favor, like and subscribe. I have no idea why every YouTuber asks for that. I think monetary value. I don't think that's going to help me out at all. If you're going to do anything, go to coachingshare.com, go to the lunch pail, and go and buy something. All right. The more revenue I make on this, the higher quality videos I can produce. And definitely want to, okay? And today is gonna be a fun one. And in the last episode too, scheme, system, play, variation, concept, there's not a ton of people that like have dove into that and explained it. So I like that I'm picking a unique topic. And today, it's not unique, but I don't think anybody's like really explained it like this. So today we're going through zone, okay? And I'm not saying inside zone, I'm not saying mid zone, it's zone. And I guess I am gonna say those, but it's the different points and why they are blocked and are coached that way, okay? So the principle of zone and why it's such a, unbelievable play, why so many teams have it, why it's, it really is the simplest and I think one of the best, the easiest way to teach guys and be okay and serviceable. You can get by with you can do a lot of stuff with just having one zone play. And the reason that's great is because guys, all they have to do is block their gap, okay? So for all zone plays, that's what we want to see. And so, and it's going to change based on the running back's track or the ball carrier, right? That's going to change our zone and where these guys are going. But it's nice because you can get your 5 linemen going in the same direction to be able to body up on somebody. And it doesn't matter what the defense is bringing. It doesn't matter the front, the stunt, the blitz, anything. These guys can close their eyes, do this, and get to these spots. Okay? It really is a very simple scheme. Now, it is not easy to run because there's all these nuances. And guys lose, as dumb as this is, right? This left guard here could have a tackle here, and this guy comes here. And I guarantee you ask any offensive line coach in the country, you could get any answer out of this. Oh, we're gonna cut him loose, or oh, we're gonna lean it back on a double team, or no, we're gonna turn around with that guy, or we're going to make this call pre-snap. Like, there's plenty of ways to skin this cat, all right? But at the end of the day, as simply as we can, because we're not getting in the weeds on this, this is it. This is your zone. This is all zone is. It's 5 guys going the same direction. There's nobody pulling. There's nothing funny going on. It's just plain Jane, all right? So now, what changes on our zones, and this is what's kind of fun, and I'll go through this right now. These guys, right? Everything I'm going to do right now is with the tailback mesh, okay? You can run it with your quarterback, whatever, but your aiming points change, okay? Your aiming points on your zone scheme change all the time. Or, excuse me, on your play for the different zones, okay? So let's take this, all right? We're gonna start off with outside zone. So on outside zone, our running back is running flat and wide, just like Montana State, best wide zone, outside zone team in the country, right? So now my outside zone aiming point is flat into the alley, okay? So this is outside zone. Well, now your offensive line has to be in a zone, so 5 guys will go in the same direction, but you got to block for where he is going. So our tracks here are no good. We need to be in this space where we're hooking somebody here, right? But now let's say we're going to run wide zone, okay? In wide zone, I'm not getting to the full outside of this. I'm going to get to right here. And now my wide zone is tracking to the tackle. Well, if your tackle is going to reach somebody here, that's no good because he's going to get on that outside shoulder and now this guy is in the way. The fundamental principle of blocking is to put your body between the dude trying to get the ball and the ball. So, am I blocking this camera right now from the wall? Yes. Am I making contact? No. But if I'm hitting the camera as hard as possible here, the camera still has a straight line to the wall. I'm not blocking him. I have to then knock the camera off course, okay, to be able to pull that off. Which, why make it hard for yourself? Get in front, block square in relation to where the ball is going. So now you got your wide zone. We've got our mid zone. We've got our inside zone. And we've even got our tight zone, which tight zone is another way to say duo, all right? Duo, and that's like an old, it's almost not even funny anymore. But like, is it inside zone? Is it ISO? Is it man scheme? Whatever. I think that depends on your system and who's calling the plays and how you like teaching it. For me, I like, tight zone is, it just kind of matches with what we teach and how we teach it. But these are the different aiming points for your zone. And obviously, some people will call this outside zone wide zone, and this outside zone, and this mid, whatever, right? I always like to think outside zone, we're getting out of the box. Wide zone, we're stretching them. Mid zone is obviously between all of these other ones. Inside zone, we're trying to get inside, A-gaps. And tight zone means, hey, there ain't gonna be much space in there, get to it, okay? So these are the different progressions. Now, we'll go into each of these from a long form deal and even talk about too, like, yeah, this isn't great for tight zone, but putting your running back here, tight zone, right? Kind of make it easier to see like the duo nature of it. Or that mid zone, right? Or that wide zone stretch here. Or now your outside zone is super outside from the tailback being depth here in good relation, and maybe I got a lead blocker. So there's tons of different ways to get to this. It depends on each coach on how you want to identify, but I think, and not to say that you need all of these, right? You may only want wide zone and mid zone for the running back to have a pretty neutral track to almost the same spot, but one where he's reading the guard, the other one he's reading the tackle. It makes it pretty difficult for defenses to navigate that. So it may be whatever you need it to be, okay? But you have different tracks and your offensive line has to block it differently. So yes, zone, and that's why it's our scheme, is zone scheme, everybody got a gap. And it's the same blocking rules. We're gonna go with look, lean, climb. look, lean, climb. And for our ball carriers, they'll also know that on zone scheme on how to read this, which is going to be your bang, bend, bounce, cut. And when we get into the play specifically, you'll see exactly how wild or how simple those cuts can be and how to read them and what have you, okay? So outside zone, getting far stretch, wide zone, I'm getting to this tackle, mid zone guard, inside zone center, tight zone. You could make the case for the center, but certainly this gap, and the blocking changes to shield that. So if we're running tight zone and I want this guy to hit the A gap, okay, yes, my zones and how we're blocking it will stay the same, but versus having just stretch to stretch, well, at any point that I'm running these plays, I want to have a shield for my ball carrier. So I want this to look like tip of the spear. And that's how I want this play to be isolated. So I need these guys to get on that line. And holy crap, now they're wheeling and sealing. That goes away from our zone principle. Does that make this a new scheme? Or do I feel confident and comfortable by telling these guys to step in and come out that we're doing this? The same thing goes with our outside zone versus wide zone, right? So we'll get into that with each one specifically in the following installments of this season of Chalk Talk. But these are the different landmarks that we're trying to get to when attacking from the backfield. And then it's pretty easy to, like, if you put it that way, like, hey, inside zone, we're tracking to the far leg of the center, right? And that also changes too. Everybody's got a different spot on where they want to track on their inside zone, right? So that's where we're tracking to. Then all you have to do as a coach in the scheme, play caller, O-line coach, anything that you're doing to develop this play is create a shield where the point of attack is. So if that's our point of attack here, great. Well, we need to have a shield assembled right here for them. And that could be, hey, center, we need you to get a square block on this guy. Or, hey, you're attacking the near number and driving. Or, hey, you're trying to reach this guy. But whatever that block is, this is the spot. So if we say, hey, you're going to reach this guy, well, now we're telling this guard, hey, you're going to seal out this spot. Or, hey, you're going to... And now you're piecing it from there with the same principle of you have a gap, and if it's if you feel good that you can make this play work within that scheme, hey, like duo would be, then you're gonna have, two gaps, or this is gonna be a man variation. So there's plenty to do with inside or with the zone scheme. It really does become bottomless and endless with the possibilities that you can have running it. And I think I'm trying to think of like a healthy, I think if you have 3 of those, like you're doing pretty good. So like if you were to have duo, an inside zone, and wide zone, like you have a stretch play, you've got a downhill, quick tempo play, and then you've got, somewhere in between with your inside zone. And so, I think 3 is a pretty healthy number. I've definitely been a part of season, one of the best O-lines and offenses I've ever coached, we only ran inside zone and the variations of it. Because you can run it with your quarterback, you can run it with jet, you can run it with toss, you can run it with triple option, you could, like the RPOs, I mean, really, you can have 7 different variations on the perimeter for it, and then you can have 4 or 5 different ways that you're blocking it, whether you're reading the C gap, you're reading the backside linebacker at second level, you can run it where you're digging out the C gap, you're kicking out the C gap, there's a lot of different ways to run these plays. I think they're great, they're flexible. And to kind of give a quick, like we're about to go over zone scheme and you got gap scheme. I would say if you have a bad offensive line, try to work gap scheme as much as possible, because you're getting a double team at the point of attack. You're getting a guy pulling. So you got a double team and then 3 non-consequential blocks around them. You need to have a 6 blocker at least to really be able to put the boots and get vertical on your gap scheme. And then I would say if you've got a smart offensive line, maybe they're undersized. Well, I guess too, because I like having a big offensive line. I like having the beef up front. So I do like that with inside zone because they take up so much space and can win those one-on-one blocks. So that's probably why I like zone most, is because I like having that beef up front that can come off the ball and knock you in the teeth. And I'm not asking them to go and pull and be athletic in open space or to make a read or anything. I keep it simple for them and just focus on their technique. So I guess those are the staunch differences between gap scheme and inside zone, and zone scheme. So, and I think too that you got to know what talent you got and who you've got on offense. Last year at Mississippi Valley State, we definitely had, we played against Tarleton and lost 59-3. And they're one of the best FCS schools in the country in 25. But we played them and had a true puller and like a heavy side. And I wasn't going to change field and boundary, so we kept it right and left, and we only pulled the left guard. Didn't matter. I don't think they cared or even noticed, but we had to because we didn't have a very good offensive line. And then too, when it came to all the zone, we weren't stressing about it because we were hoping, we were trying to get the RPOs and that sort of stuff. So, it really depends on your O-line and who you've got, for your running game. I think the sooner and the better that you know those guys and what they do best and what their ceiling is highest at doing based on what you're installing is going to be a difference maker. And again, as long as you form it and it's clear and it's concise and you understand where these landmarks and the tracks of the running back are going to go, you teach it to the offensive line so they know where the running back's going to be in his cuts and what he's looking for. Because again, if you don't, and the running back or the ball carrier and the O-line aren't on the same page, yes, you can have success, but you're also going to run into issues down the road. So don't just think because you went out there practice one and you had some big creases and he's making the cut that you've got the play down and that's a wrap. Also, don't get discouraged when you're all the way through camp and furthest gain you had is 3 yards, because the one thing that is the more that you're repping something against the defense, the better they're going to be at stopping it. And when it's inside zone and they get good at stopping it, that means when you go out in the game, those blocks are going to be way sharper and better than you could ever imagine. So that kind of brings us through. Again, make a comment, subscribe, whatever to this channel. I don't know why, but every YouTuber says that, and then they tell you to do that. And I don't know. I'm not going to tell you not to, but that's my soft sell on that. Please go to coachingshare.com/the lunch pail. The more that you guys support the lunch pail, the more videos I can turn out. I would love nothing more than to produce high quality football videos of doing this. I don't know. Kind of I was thinking about, the football really doesn't have a Bill Nye the Science Guy. Where did he come from? Where is Bill Nye? I imagine he's a Harvard grad and all that, but it's not this guy has done anything. And he's the only science person I can remember or relate to. So do I want to be like Bill Nye the Science Guy? No, not at all. Because then he had that debate. Like they put him out there to have to like debate the guy about the Bible, and he's like talking about dinosaurs. Like that's how you know you're really like bottomed out. Like you're sitting on there with a little podium debating it. Like that is absurd. So no, I would not want to be in that avenue. But I do like benefiting and educating young coaches and teaching them what it's like and all of that, and what makes football so great. So thank you guys for supporting, watching, doing whatever you can. And two, I know this is getting a long one and I don't mind rambling, but the main reason I am doing this is being of service, okay? And really trying to help coaches out, young coaches, and teach them, everything I can and know about the game. And so that's why I'm making these videos. I prefer to be in a producing and writing role, and I feel very comfortable being an offensive coordinator, calling plays. I do not feel very comfortable being the guy on the field, which, why would I? I've never scored a point in anything in my whole life, and I've only blocked and been that selfless guy. So I don't know. It definitely is very uncomfortable doing this. But I definitely feel when I circle back to it, this isn't for, I would love to make, get some coin coming in and a monthly paycheck from doing online work like this, which I've had in years past. A little bit more would be nice, but this isn't vanity. This isn't for notoriety or exposure or anything like that. Like, I truly feel that if only one person watches this and benefits from it, that makes this 22 minutes in the upload time well worth it. And I enjoy doing it. And I hope to continue doing these, to get over 100 of these, and rep it out. And that my biggest hope is that somebody watches this, benefits from it, and has a profession in the football and coaching college football because of this. And again, all of these videos are something that I would want if I was back here at Davenport as a GA, that would be watching and rolling over. So thank you guys so much for watching. This is so rambling. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.